So there's true compassion, according to the wisdom teachings, and then there's idiot compassion and not knowing, when not to give, which is then wisdom. Who not to give to is also wisdom, compassion. Comment?
Yes, it's maybe becoming more of one's space, not just physical, but like a psychic space, and knowing, when to interject, when to hand somebody something, and when to leave them to their own devices.
Right. When to let it go. Not out of selfishness, but we're talking about compassion having more to do with selflessness. So, than selfish giving, which is selfish.
So would you say
so then it's not giving. Selfish giving is not really giving. It's a strategy. In some cases, we have to be aware of that. When we're giving for ourselves instead of for the other. So giving to please ourselves, maybe ultimately or strategically. Right. So we have to know these games, these programs, so we stay out of that web, of darkness. Comment now.
So giving something in order for thinking that you're going to gain something in return.
In other words, from the Dharma, giving something is not giving something. That's where you have to be. And from there, find the freedom you need to give. Comment. This is good for you.
Right, so then knowing when to just leave things and keep the focus on...
That takes heart. That takes courage. It takes intelligence. But you can't let, these people just suck you into their vacuum cleaner. So you have to know when to go. You have to know when to do what. And what to do, is very important. And we're not talking about building self. We're talking about knowing the right timing to do what is necessary without you complicating your life because of your addiction to people. And then choosing what thing is the right service for the person. Coming.
Could you talk a little bit more about that? About knowing what the right thing is for somebody, or what you just said there?
Yeah, you need to know that for yourself. What do you think about that? Why would that be a problem for you?
Maybe on the subject of, or say for instance, like if I have a student, a music student, and I'm, maybe checking in, maybe they haven't, taken a lesson in a certain amount of time. Maybe I'm checking in to see if they want to come back and give me some, pay me to, have another lesson or something like that. So, check in with them, see how they're doing. See if they're open to it.
So you mean see if they need a lesson?
Right, yeah.
It's really, that's the difference, seeing if they need a lesson.
Sure, exactly, yeah.
It's
keeping it open in a sense, not saying, not getting, not getting too involved in it, but checking in.
Not manipulating.
Right, exactly.
Not manipulating.
Exactly.
Then you might be of service.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to put this on?
Oh, I think we're rolling.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so I think that's a good point.
Yeah.
So that's a delicate point.
Right, yeah.
When you are able to give. That's the difference between the real compassion and idiot compassion. You see, that line in the sand that becomes selfishness, selflessness or selfishness. See? And in the material world, it's mostly about selfishness, what makes you feel good. So that's understood. It's what everybody does is what makes them feel good. See? And giving, of course, selfishly, makes most people feel good. See? But they don't see it as selfishly. See, they're not that sensitive to the mechanics of it. See? And at the same time, when we're practicing, then you become more detached from others in a proper way, but ready to serve as needed at the same time. So you want to be more conscious, less guilty about what you do or don't do, and much more in your service, say, heart to heart, and then that defines its own sort of limitations. Say, no, this is enough for you, honey. There's plenty for you, and you know that's the case. But you know, when the honey is so honey, they say, no, I need more from you. And then you step out at your own risk, because then you may be being manipulated, and then you pay when you don't want to pay.
So in the act of asking someone if they need the service, is that selfish in itself, or?
It depends on you, right? It depends. So it depends on what your motivation is. So this is good practice, where you're studying your motivation. So you're conscious of your motivation. Say, no, this person needs help, and you're clear of that. And if you ask anyone else, they say, no, we agree. So that it's not for you. If you can determine that, say, no, I know the person needs help, so I'm going to help them. I'm going to do what I can, but not get involved.
Right.
And then reach a point where I got in so deep I can't help them.
Right.
And then they're going to start looking at me weird, saying, but I saw it.
Right.
But you said. And now you're saying something else. That kind of that kind of ooey gooey situation.
Right.
So we have the right to decide what is best, not so much for your ego, but for the situation. And as you become deeper in your practice of compassion, you start to feel things and know things that you couldn't feel and know before, and that contradicts what you would have done before, right? Because you become wiser, more open, more conscious, less egoic and selfish, and more heart opened. See?